Hello, everybody. It is Al Night. It is Brony time, and welcome back to Apollo Justice, a Ace Attorney Trilogy, Dual Destinies. When we last left off, we are about to cross-examine Fulbright. We met Prosecutor Blackquill, and he is quite the cool-looking prosecutor, I would say. But, without further ado, let's cross-examine. And the first thing that is glaringly obvious
Objection!
Did the alderman really strike the mayor? What? What are you questioning my sense of justice? Your so-called justice needs to find itself a pair of legs to stand on. You claim the alderman struck back after the mayor put a spear through him, but the statue he supposedly used to defend himself creates a major hole in your theory. It would appear that the defense has a counter-argument. Very well, let's hear what the defense thinks is all about the detective statue theory. If you picked it up, then why aren't his fingerprints on it? There are no fingerprints on this supposedly crucial piece of evidence. And if you look at the crime scene photo, you'll notice that the alderman isn't wearing gloves. Yes, I believe he is quite gloveless indeed. If he touched the statue with his bare hands, he should have left some fingerprints. Detective Fulbright, you did take that into account during your investigation, didn't you? Ah, this can't be happening! Did I arrest the wrong man? You did it, Apollo! You knocked Detective Fulbright off his high horse! Well, it's just 1 point in our favor. Who do you suppose clubbed the mayor if it wasn't the alderman? Well, if it wasn't the alderman, that means someone else must have clubbed the mayor. You mean there was a third party there in the Fox Chamber? Exactly. And this could be the big break we've been looking for. There does seem to be a hole in the prosecution's argument. Prosecutor Blackquill, would you care to respond to the defense's assertion? The least you could do is look at me while being dismissive. Your mind is as dull as an unhoned blade. Justice Dono. Justice Dono? He's been watching too many samurai flicks. It will take far more than that to cut down Simon Blackquill. A whelp such as you has no hope against my superior swordsmanship. This is a trial, not a sword fight, Prosecutor Blackquill. There's a perfectly good explanation for the lack of prints on the statue. You might recall that blood-stained cloth found at the scene of the crime. Well, it just so happens that the blood was the mayor's. So, what are you getting at? Hone your mind, boy. Why? Dude, you're like 28. Why was there blood on that cloth? Solve that riddle and you shall see that the hole you thought you found is but an illusion. Now let's see. How was that cloth used? Was it used to wrap the statue? Maybe the alderman wrapped the statue in the cloth. In short, he wasn't touching the statue directly when he used to strike back at the mayor. Ah! Precisely. Bully for you, boy. Ah, it's nothing. Apollo, don't let him start manipulating you too. You just closed the hole for the prosecution. I did? Ah! I did! Right. That a statue wrapped in cloth would leave no fingerprints is plain as day. But this also proves there are no holes in our theory of the alderman striking back. Oops. Ah! Now do you see how dull your mind is? I'll make sure to sharpen it next time. A particularly frightening inmate once told me that. He always tenderly honed his blades before he went to work, like the samurai of yore. Samurai? Sounds more like a homicidal maniac to me. Actually, he was working in the prison kitchen at the time. Wait, so the inmate was murdering samurai... was a murdering samurai prison chef? It would seem that the victim and his killer were the only ones there after all. I was kinda attached to that hole. Now what? Apollo, I just thought of something. If they didn't find anyone's fingerprints on the statue, who's to say someone other than the alderman didn't hit the mayor with it? Why didn't I think of that? Anybody could have not left prints on it. Then who, pray tell, struck the mayor with the statue? Please illuminate us with your wisdom, young lady. There's only one answer. The real killer. Prove the existence of this real killer, then. What evidence have you? I'll give you evidence, all right. Athena, are you sure about this? To borrow your words, Apollo, I'm fine. Take a look at this. Black feathers and tracks, allegedly from a yokai, were found at the scene. I believe they're from the third party who struck the mayor with that statue. Is the defense actually suggesting some sort of monster killed that alderman? That's exactly what I'm suggesting. No, Athena, you just lost what little credibility we had left. Ah! Sorry. Guess I got carried away. Mr. Justice, we've no time to deal with objections between members of the defense. Sorry, Your Honor. It's just, this kid's still, well, a kid. Ouch. You meanie. I'm reporting this to Mr. Wright. So, is the court to believe the feathers in the tracks are from a yokai, as you put it? No, Your Honor. I believe they are a fabrication. The real killer wants us to believe some sort of monster murdered the alderman. Interesting. Why do you suppose the killer would do that? Why indeed? Mr. Justice, you seem as new as this. You seem as new to this as your partner is. Ouch. I'm not reporting to Mr. Wright. Hoy, fool Bright, explain to his baldness what these brats are missing. You know, the who and why behind those feathers and tracks. Ha ha ha! Our investigative prowess is without equal. I'm starting to think I chose the wrong profession. Very well, let's hear about these so-called yokai feathers and tracks. This entire case centers on one man's attempt to crush opposition to the municipal merger. Mayor Tenma panicked when the amazing Ninetales helped embolden the protesters. So he stoked the villagers' fears by fabricating a monster. The strange feathers and tracks he planted made it look like the yokai was the killer. Excuse me. Those feathers and tracks stoked the villagers' fears? Absolutely. He knew exactly how to prey on their superstitious minds. Those feathers only gave weight to the idea that the alderman was slain by a demon. The accursed demon, Tenma Taro, that is. Tenma who? Tenma Taro, the legendary demon locked away in the village's forbidden chamber. From a young age, the villagers are taught to fear the great black feathered demon, and thus were they blinded to the other more plausible explanation. Hold on for a second. Before we start letting our imaginations run wild, is there someone else that could be considered a suspect? Mr. Justice, please explain yourself. On the day of the incident, there was a special event held at Kyubi Manor. And as part of the event, there was someone dressed in the likeness of Tenma Taro. Obviously, this person is a much more likely suspect than any legendary demon. Dullard, you are playing right into the killer's mind games. What? Listen here. The feathers and tracks were merely red herrings. The villagers believe the murder to be the work of the real Tenma Taro. However, the police believe that the person in the Tenma Taro suit is the killer. The defendant sought to sow this confusion in order to deflect blame away from himself. However, he was knocked unconscious by the alderman, and thus our mentally deficient mayor was caught red-handed at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Do you honestly believe Mayor Tenma would do something so stupid?
Objection!
The evidence speaks for itself, fool bright. Right, it's the mayor's last-ditch effort to stop the opposition before things got crazy. The Amazing Ninetales was fueling both the yokai craze and the anti-merger movement. Plus, he's one of the better-known masked wrestlers and the hometown favorite. That's why the mayor panicked and set out on the path of injustice. But do the people of Ninetales really believe a yokai is behind the crime? Yokai sightings are everyday event there, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I must say, crime that preys upon innocent, impressionable minds. Just so, a particularly silver-tongued inmate once had the following words for me. The innocent of heart are the easiest prey. Don't say, was this inmate a con artist? No. He was framed for the murder of his beloved. I actually felt sorry for the poor chap. Wait, so he wasn't the predator, but rather the prey? Yes, well, now then, defense may proceed with their cross-examination.
Hold it!
But it doesn't add up. If what you say is true, why top it off with murder? What do you mean? You claim that our client planted the yokai evidence to stoke the villagers' fears. If so, then why not stop there? Why murder an Alderman QB? Excellent point. It is, isn't it? So Your Honor agrees there was no reason for the murder, correct? Perhaps the killing was spur of the moment. You're saying it wasn't premeditated. From the outset, I had no intention of paying heed to any of your battle. However, the fact is, the mayor made a startling discovery. A startling discovery? I don't like the sound of it. Alderman QB's secret identity. Apollo, I think Prosecutor Blackquill has figured out the Alderman's secret identity. But even if he has, why would it be a motive for the mayor to commit murder? This is not good. This patch of fur was discovered at the crime scene. It's from the mask worn by the Amazing Ninetales. Therefore, we can conclude that this mask was at the crime scene. Oh my, but why would it have been there? The victim was a former pro wrestler and a member of the anti-merger movement. Need I say more? Well, could it really be? Your baldness has had an epiphany, I see. Our victim, Rex QB, the Amazing Ninetales. The mayor's discovery of this fact was his motive for murder. No! Order, order, what a shocking development. A motive clearer than crystal clear. What do we do now, Apollo? I don't think they'd tie the Alderman's secret identity to the mayor's motive for murder. At last, we've reached a real point. Why did the Alderman have to forge a secret identity? Does it not pique your interest, your baldness? I admit it does. It is odd that I had to create this... It is odd that he had to create this other persona. Just to secretly participate in the anti-merger movement. Very astute of you, your baldness. Right, now take a look at this. If you valued your life, you merge 9 tails of Tenma Town. Do not tell anyone about this fete. If you do, consider your dearest as good as dead. If you value your dearest life, you will merge 9 Tails Vale with Tenma Town. Blackmail letter was found in Alderman QB's pocket. What? At present, the Alderman's wife is in the hospital. That letter is clear evidence that the mayor was blackmailing him by threatening her life. Wait, didn't the blackmail letter sent to Mayor Tenma go missing? Right after the Alderman's murder? You think maybe the killer took the letter from the mayor after the murder and planted it onto the Alderman's pocket. It's possible, but we don't have any proof that that's what happened. Talk about being up the creek without a paddle. Mayor Tenma would have made a clean getaway if he had just left after planning the yokai thing. But he was knocked out cold by his sudden decision to kill the Amazing Ninetales. So, it was the Amazing Ninetales counterattack that brought the entire crime to light. Wait a sec. It's claiming that the mayor killed the Alderman's life after planning the yokai evidence. That the mayor was knocked out cold immediately after that. Detective Fulbright, please add your previous statement to your testimony. But how could he have done that if he was knocked out?
Objection!
Detective Fulbright, your sense of justice is anything but fair. What's this? You dare question my justice again? Yes, and I'm going to prove it to you. Take a look at this photograph. This is a crime scene photo. And just what does this prove? It proves when the feathers and tracks were planted. But I already told you they were planted before the murder. The defendant planted the yokai evidence, then was knocked out while killing his victim. But that would be impossible. If you look right here, it's clear when the feathers and tracks were left at the scene. The footprints.
Take that!
Aren't you just pointing to the yokai feathers and tracks, Mr. Justice? Yes, see how the feathers are on top of the blood. The tracks were made in blood? In other words, the yokai evidence could have only resulted after the murder. The mayor must have planted the evidence after killing the alderman. But you said it yourself. The mayor had been knocked unconscious thereafter. There would have been no time for him to plant any evidence at all. Therefore, there must have been someone else besides the mayor and the alderman at the crime scene. There must be some mistake. Order, order. Well, where's your evidence? You can't possibly have any, can you? Ha 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 ha. Evidence? Oh, I have evidence. In fact, I have eyewitness testimony for you. You do? But how? Does my vaunted sense of justice really just half-baked? He's taking this really hard. Mr. Justice, what is your testimony regarding a third party that you claim to have? I have it right here, Your Honor. It's the sworn testimony of Mr. Tenma's daughter. The witness, Jinxie Tenma, saw a yokai in the hallway after stumbling upon the scene. It was the demon Tenma Taro. He's the source of those feathers and tracks. Will somebody please say something? The French will explain to the court exactly what he means. You dare to mock this court justice itself? You're unfit to bear your name, boy. Your baldness, it appears the defense attorney here, is delirious from exhaustion. Apollo, think of something quick before you're held in contempt of court. What do you think I'm trying to do? Before you decide whether I should step down, please, hear me out. Very well, Mr. Justice, I'm all ears, but you had better explain yourself well. What was this yokai you were talking about? It's all in this statement here. Jinxie Tenma asserts that she saw Taro after she discovered the crime scene and called the police. She came around a corner in the hall. It was around here that she saw Taro fleeing toward the foyer. The defense asserts that whoever was impersonating this monster is the one who left those feathers and tracks behind, intentionally or otherwise. What? How incredibly unjust! Why haven't I heard about this before? That just meant there was someone else. So the mayor isn't a killer? Was it all set up? The prosecutor is a convicted felon after all. Apollo, the moment has shifted in our favor. Good, now let's keep it that way. Little do you realize that though you are in the midst of a fray, your sword is broken. My sword? I didn't know I had one to break. Are you implying there's a problem with my claim? Consider this. If that yokai impersonator had indeed fled toward the foyer, that fool and that fop would have seen him. Fool and fop? Oh, you mean Filch and LaBelle. Now that you mention it. Both Phineas Filch and Floyd LaBelle were in the foyer at the time. They haven't stated that they saw a yokai, have they? Did you ever consider that yokai was but a figment of a scared little girl's imagination? Why didn't those two see the Taro impersonator pass by? Why don't we ask them ourselves? I was just about to say that myself. No, really, I was. The defense would like to call Mr. Phineas Filch, caretaker QB Manor, to the stand. I just know he must have seen something. I suppose we can't ignore the fact that the little girl believes she saw a monster. I trust you have no objections to Mr. Justice's request, Prosecutor Blackwell. I understand that Mr. Filch is enjoying a nap out in the lobby. I knew that Tanuki was a rare find. And when we captured him, I didn't think he'd end up a witness. Do with him as you will. Did he just say captured? No, wait. I don't want to know. Very well then, bailiff. Please go wake Mr. Filch and escort him to the witness stand. Will the witness state his name and occupation, please? The name's Finch, Phineas Finch, caretaker of QB Manor. Oh, and this is for you, your lordship. Just a little something I thought you might like. Oh my, what a fabulous pair of shoes. And your honor will do just fine, Mr. Filch. It's those shoes again. Don't they belong to Detective Fulbright? Don't tell me Filch stole them again. They're all yours, your honorship, sir. What? But they seem awfully expensive. Yep, too expensive for me, but I reckon they'd be perfect for someone like your honorship. It's a kind gesture, but legal ethics dictate I can't accept such gifts. Oh, ethics, methics. Just take them if you want them. Promise to be real nice for you, too. I'm sorry about the shoes, Mr. Filch, but I will accept your testimony. The court would like to hear whether you saw Tenma Taro in the foyer after the murder. At the time of the murder, I was on guard duty in the foyer, just like Mr. QB asked. I was making sure no one, fair, foul, or fishy, or otherwise, could get to our guest. I was still in my office keeping a good watch when the murder happened after 3 p.m., but I didn't see nothing out of the ordinary, no siree. That yokai you keep jabbering on about was but a phantom of a little girl's dreams. So, you're telling this court you never saw anyone dressed up like Tenma Taro? Yep, was guarding the whole time. That's the truth. The holy truth and nutter butter truth. And Tenma Taro? Bah, you don't really believe in all that yokai mumbo-jumbo, do ya? I certainly don't. My bracelet. It's something the matter, Apollo? My bracelet keeps squeezing my arm. Really? So you think Mr. Tanuki, Filch, has been lying to us? I wouldn't rule it out. Now, if I could just zero in on a tell. Some sort of nervous habit. Ah! What is a hawk doing in here? Allow me to introduce my trusty cohort, Taka. He seems to have taken quite a liking to the courthouse. Made it his new home, in fact. He doesn't live with you? You know, in jail? Who's ever heard of a courthouse bird? Taka simply loathes trickery and fraud. That queer power of yours seems to have offended my dear bosom buzzard. Is this some sort of trick or... Ah! Be able to spot squat like this. What the heck's going on around here? Run for the hills! No pets or other animals are allowed in the courtroom. Ah, somebody help! Oh, he's merely having a bit of sport. Won't harm you, save when truly famished. In that case, Prosecutor Blackquill, you will ensure your feathered friend is properly fed. Looks like we have to do this the old-fashioned way. We'll be fine, I think. There's someone dressed as Taro there. Filch should have seen him. We'll just have to put our faith in Jinxie's statement for now. Mr. Justice, please proceed with your cross-examination. So, the contradiction here is that he said, I was still in my office keeping a good watch when the murder happened after 3 p.m. But, if we go back into our evidence, and what we found last episode, the TV listings here is labeled 3 o'clock.
Objection!
Don't lie to the court like that, Mr. Filch. Hey, it ain't right to bushwhack a fella like that. Unfortunately for you, I have evidence that proves you're lying. If you look at this TV listing here, you'll see that at the time of the crime, there was a pro wrestling match scheduled. Something you never miss. Dag! I didn't watch that one, no siree! I was doing my job just like I was supposed to. This guy doesn't know when to give up. Mr. Filch, someone even circled the match. It was you, right? Yipes! Not only that, you even told me you watched it. You said, and I quote, it was a complete disaster. So, do you admit to slacking off? You can't trick me with your Rudy Poo lawyer talk. I'm one of the professional types too. I could do double duty watching TV in the foyer at the same time. The only thing Filch can claim to be a professional of is professional thief. Mr. Justice, you would have this court believe the witness was slacking off. That's correct. He claims to have been watching TV and the foyer at the same time. But that's nothing but a bald-faced lie. Bald, you say, but I'm not the one who's lying. Perhaps you meant the witness, Mr. Justice. And in that case, let's see what evidence you can offer. You claim Mr. Filch is lying about watching TV in the foyer simultaneously. Now prove it. Well, it's the foyer diagram. See? Like, he can't watch at the same time.
Take that!
Please take a look at the direction of the TV is facing in the diagram. Now, unless Mr. Filch has his eyes where his right ear should be, I think it would be impossible to watch the foyer entrance and the TV at the same time. Why, yes, someone watching TV there couldn't possibly see the entrance. Exactly, and that means, Mr. Filch, you were slacking off and were not watching the foyer as you claimed. Yipes, the bag's out of the cat. I mean the other way round. Order, order, order! But, Mr. Justice, is Mr. Filch's less than stellar work ethic relevant to this case? It's very relevant because while he was slacking off watching TV, there really could have been a Tenma Taro impersonator in the foyer.
Objection.
now? Granted, this Tanuki was lax in his duties, but he still had the foyer entrance covered. What are you talking about? This. I'm not a mind reader. Ah! Auditory sense. His eyes may have been slacking off, but his ears were still hard at work. Right, Tanuki? They were? I mean, yes. Yes, they were. But you already admitted to slacking off. Now you say you weren't. My eyes might be lazy, but my ears ain't. I would have heard anyone in the foyer, eh? You see, the foyer floor and stairway get all creaky squeaky when someone walks on them. Creak, creak, creak. Loud enough to wake the dead, I reckon. So, you're saying you didn't hear anybody walk by? Yep, my ears were working full time. So who's the liar now, you no-good shyster? A lying thief calling me a shyster? This has to be the low point of my fledgling career. Gotta hand it to you, Mr. Blackwood, sir. You really are something else, eh? I mean, you don't miss a thing. And them bags under your eyes, they're darker than mine. Fair warning, Mr. Filch. Taka is particularly fond of Tanuki. Should you lie to this court again, you may suddenly find yourself on the menu. Yay! Please don't eat ears to Taka, sir. The witness will henceforth testify truthfully under penalty of painful burn attacks. With that in mind, the court requests that the witness revise his testimony accordingly. It's true, I was watching a pro wrestling match on the office TV. My eyes might have been slacking off, but my ears, they were working overtime. The floor there is all creaky squeaky like. No way I would have missed someone walking by. So you see, these weren't no Tenma Taro in the foyer. Superstition is the religion of feeble minds. Understand? A simple, rational explanation is best. Forget yokai, demons, and such. We must use common sense. For lacking that, our entire world would be put upside down. Says the convict prosecutor is totally a sign of the end times for the legal world. And besides, if there were any yokai roaming around, I'd nab them and send them to the zoo. Wonder whether Jinxie was just seeing things. It seems to be the general consensus, but I'm sticking to my guts. But if we can't prove she saw Tenma Taro, the mayor's sure to be convicted. And we better hope my guns fire bullets, not BBs. The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Hold it!
So you have pretty good ears, Mr. Filch. As good as they come, I'd say. Ain't nothing to hear creaky floor. Plus, that Tenma Taro makes a sound when he goes by. It's like a jingle jangle. Jingle jangle? How does he do that? It's that staff of his. That's what jingle jangles. What's he talking about, Apollo? Beats me, but I guess Tenma Taro has a staff that makes noise. Come to think of it, didn't Jinxie mention something like that? She said she saw Tenma Taro holding a staff-like object that made a jangly sound. I guess that's the source of the noise, then. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Phillips says Tenma Taro jingle jangles. Do you consider that vital information? Extremely vital. I request that it be added to his testimony. What? His staff? How do you know he had a staff?
Objection!
Tenma Taro's staff would make a jangly sound, you say? Well, I'm going to say that your story doesn't add up. Is there something the defense would like to share with the court? Mr. Filch, you say that you didn't see Tenma Taro on the day of the incident. Why, then, did you assume just now that Tenma Taro would be holding a staff? Huh? You see, the Tenma you saw held a staff in his hands, and she describes its sounds just like you did, as a kind of jangly sound. Yeah, sure he was holding a staff. What's your point? The point is that Tenma doesn't use a staff, not normally. What are you talking about? You see, this is the only document depicting Tenma. Is there a staff in that picture, Mr. Filch? You're right, there's no staff. Not even a cane or walking stick. Dang, so the question is, why does a witness think Tenma uses a staff? I believe the answer will overturn the prosecution's case on the most basic level. Well now, this is getting interesting. Alright, Mr. Justice, it's time to show the court where you're going with this. Please show the court why Mr. Filch believes he saw Tenma's carrying the staff, because he actually saw him carry it. Mr. Filch actually saw Tenma right after the crime occurred. That's the only way he could possibly know about the staff. Bloody hell! Sorry, I didn't see that. Bloody hell, you duplicitous little... Yes, how'd that feel, Black Quill? Not so fun when you're on the receiving end of the blade, is it? Admit it, Mr. Filch. You did see Tenma that day, didn't you? Well? I'm begging you, please don't make me say it. But clearly you did see Tenma. Stop stalling and testify to that fact. No can do, no way, no how. You ain't got no idea how terrifying he can be. He? Mr. Filch still won't admit to seeing Tenma, even though everyone knows he did. The question now is, why? Mr. Filch is scared to death. Is that why he can't admit the truth? Come to think of it... Jinxie wouldn't admit to seeing Tenma after hearing about the village superstitions. She said that if she told anyone that she had seen Tenma, he'd claim her soul. Wait, you think Filch believes that too? Ah, so Mr. Big-Time City Slicker Lawyer has heard about him. Them old village superstitions? Will the defense please explain what the witness is talking about? The people of Ninetales Vale believe some pretty strange things. Their superstitions may be the reason our witness here can't admit the truth. The truth that he really did see Tenma. Darn straight, that's why! It's all right here! Do not gaze upon Tenma. Do not tell others if you see him. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. There is, however, one way to save it. Your immediate departure from the village. Freeing him will bring ruin upon the village. Ignoring the superstitions will cost you your soul. See, that's why I spoke of the Ninetales Vale. Can't talk about seeing Tenma. That clears up one mystery. The killer took advantage of the superstitions by wearing a Tenma costume. They knew that way no one could talk about him, so it was as if he never existed. The defense holds that this Tenma impersonator is the true killer. What?
Objection!
Superstitions, you say? What kind of fool would actually believe such rubbish? And would that, using some silly fairy tale, could so easily expose the culprit? You'll need to come up with a more rational, common-sense explanation than that. Your common sense seems awfully narrow-minded to me, Prosecutor Blackquill. Try living in any world of narrow cells, mortal danger, and dark, sleepless nights. There is no lack of superstitions in the Clink, but few are those who truly believe in them. Well, the village superstitions are real enough to the people of Ninetales Vale. A life or death superstition might make even you a believer. Order, order, I say! You fool of a tanuki. 2 times now your lies have cost me. Sorry, I promise not to do it again. Talk of my fine feather friend. Have at him! Ah, he's gonna eat me alive! Head for the hills! Ah, he took off. But bailiff, what are you waiting for? After him and with your fastest men! That's surely not something you see every day. Well, it would seem a new important fact has come to light. A third party disguised as a yokai, Tenma Taro, was at the scene. And now we have 2 witnesses who can attest to that fact. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackwell? Uh-oh! What? Huh? Ah! Shackles. Ah! I'm too young to die! Justice Donner, long has it been since I've been forced to draw my blade. You had best say your prayers. Hey! Detective, do something! Ha ha ha! Have no fear, Fulbright is here. When the going gets tough, the champion of justice gets going. Then get going already before he kills us! Oh, but I stand in awe of Simon Blackwell for his sense of justice that set him free. Objection! Objection! I object to Detective Fulbright's definition of justice!
Silence.
I'm not in the habit of cutting down unarmed cowards. Oh, well, in that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, can I ask you to, I think the judge forgot he's in charge here. So, Justice Dono's assertion is this. Tenma Taro is the real killer, not Mayor Tenma. According to him, there was a yokai at the scene of the crime. Right, and that yokai, or rather whoever was impersonating him, killed Alderman Kyubi.
Silence.
Ah! Care to explain why Jinxie, being the first to discover the murder, did not see her alleged killer yokai there in the Fox Chamber? What? He's right. She said nothing about Tenma Taro being in the Fox Chamber. Let me enlighten you. That little scamp heard a dying scream right before she opened the chamber door. And your point is, upon opening the door, she found a freshly skewed murder victim, the alderman, and the homicidal maniac who had killed him, the mayor. No, there must have been someone dressed up like Tenma. Ah! And why has that little scamp claimed not to have seen a yokai in the Fox Chamber? Considering her father is accused of murder, surely she would have mentioned any third party that might have been in the room. I don't understand. Why didn't she see Tenma Taro inside the Fox Chamber? There's but one way to find out. Ask Jinxie Tenma whether she saw your killer yokai at the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. The final battle draws nigh. Only one of us will leave here alive. Long has my blade thirsted for blood. At long last it shall be sated. Wait, this is still a trial, right? Show me what you're truly capable of. Justice Dono. Very well then, both parties no doubt need some time to regroup. So the court will take a 10-minute recess in order to... Da! 3 minutes. I'm sorry, but a 3-minute recess? Just so plenty of time if your destination of intent is the loo. Loo? You mean the bathroom? Sheesh. At least include enough time to wash our hands. See that you take no more than 3 minutes. All latecomers will be punished. Yes, sir. I hereby declare a 3-minute recess before the battle begins. I declare Procurator Blackquill the winner of this round of Simon Says. Doesn't bode well for us if the prosecutor is running the show, does it? He busted out of his shackles. Yeah, what was that all about? Because they didn't make shackles like they used to. Better be careful, Apollo. You've really brought out the samurai in him. Especially after you proved there was a Tenma impersonator at the manor. What's with that guy and the whole samurai act anyway? Such fine swordsmanship. That is no mere act. Mr. Justice, it's high time I challenge this jailhouse prosecutor to a duel. No, wait, let's say the duel until after we prove your innocence. I suppose it could wait till later. Does anyone remember we're conducting a trial here? Athena, I'm gonna go wash up. Remember what Blackquill said, Apollo, don't be late. Now then, I believe our next witness is Miss Jinxie Tenma, a maid at Kirby Manor. I believe we can proceed now if the witness is ready, that is. No, Rion! Leader of the 100 Demons! He really does exist! Wow, that is one well-polished tray. The witness will show her face while in court, or her testimony will be inadmissible. Hey! What is it, my child? Begone, Norion, leader of the 100 Demons. Oh, you think I'm a yokai? Well, I was once known as the judicial monster of sorts. The beast of the bar, the demon of due process, if you will. Hey, my charm has no effect. Demon of due process? Not sure I can see that one. Now, you little scamp. Yes? I trust you know why you're here. Bags. Bags? Oh, that tricksy Tanuki. Try the noodle stand and go enjoy a big bowl of Tanuki tail noodles while you're at it. Everyone's a comedian. No, I meant your bags. The ones under your eyes. I must have trouble sleeping. Here, this charm will keep Azukari away. Azukari, the yokai that washes Azuki beans? The only thing needing washing will be your father's neck before I take his head clean off. Azukai often keeps people up at night with the noise he makes washing beans. But if you stick this charm on your forehead, you won't hear him anymore. Is that so? Well, thank you. Looks like Prosecutor Blackquill got more than he bargained for. They're bad enough alone, but together these two are just plain creepy. Your testimony, if you please, Miss Tenma. Specifically, whether or not you saw Taro when you discovered the crime scene. Did I see Taro in the Fox Chamber? Well, when I opened the door, I saw, yes, now I remember, yokai right there in that room. So there was a yokai at the scene of the crime. Lots and lots of them. Wait, more than one yokai? Did Taro happen to be among them? I don't know. I just don't know. All I know is the room was swimming in yokai. Kasha, Nurakabe, Setaisho. They were all there. Well, this is an unexpected turn of events. Gone from no yokai to a flood of them. This is ludicrous. You would have this court listen to this delusional little scab's testimony.
Hold it!
Your Honor, I believe her memory is simply clouded by fear, but a quick therapy session should ease her mind. With the court's permission, of course. What a fabulous idea! Please proceed, Miss Sykes. You sure you know what you're doing, Athena? She's obviously not herself. The trauma of discovering that crime scene and fear of testifying have her dazed and confused. A regular ball of confusion. But my analytical psychology-based approach should be able to help. Any objections, Prosecutor Blackwell? Shall we let Miss Sykes proceed? It makes no difference to me. Do as you will, but I doubt she will get any viable testimony. She'd be better served by bearing witness to the sword skills I forged in a distant land. I'll show you. Found some. Looks like an out-of-control emotion. Athena, what exactly are we looking at here? Oh, this? It's one of Widget's functions. And we will learn all about this function next time on Dual Destinies. Yeah, I gotta end it right here. I probably should have ended it a little before this, but I didn't know. I thought I was going to be able to save within it, but then it didn't happen. But yeah, so there we go. Interestingly enough, so we have exposed that there was a Tenma Taro impersonator in the manor, but we are dealing with Jixie, who is kind of going freaking crazy right now, but we'll try to calm her down and get a more clear and concise testimony from her. But thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to anytime for more content, especially more Ace Attorney. Also, make sure to share this video far and wide so we can get it to as many people as possible. I will see you all next time.